What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and today we are here to talk about the new album Alphaville from New York technical black metal band Imperial Triumphant via Century Media Records. But before I do that, if you like to stay up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. I upload new content every single week. As I've discussed before, this is a band that I fell in love with after the release of their detestably subversive EP Inceste, not only to make my list of best albums of 2018, but also my top 100 albums of the entire decade with the supremely decadent Vile Luxury. With the bar set so high, you'd better believe that Alphaville made my short list of most anticipated releases of 2020 the moment it was announced.
Shut up and take my money!
The album kicks off with lead single Rotted Futures, which once more showcases the band's impressive scope from its tension-building ambient intro to its dizzyingly technical jazz-infused instrumentation. With its warbly, pendulum-like bass riff, the composition itself seems as if it is constantly teetering back and forth on the brink of toppling over in a fantastic display of destruction. Kenny Grohowski delivers yet another stunning display of mathematically unpredictable drumming alongside Zachary Ezrin's maniacally avant-garde approach to guitars and vocals that falls somewhere between Deathspell Omega and Portal in its carnival meets apocalyptic sermon aesthetic. Those subtle haunting chorals are a nice touch as well. Excelsior tests our endurance even further with riffs that sound like lurching, rusted machinery, spitting bolts and screws in plumes of smoke like some demented 30s black and white cartoon. It's moments like these that are sure to send the average listener running, but leave the initiated in the usual drooling stupor. The Greater Good is another personal standout. It's one of the more straightforward compositions, I guess, by comparison anyways, with this chugging, driving guitar set against eerie backing synths and freeform-sounding drums. The future is bright, snarls Ezrin with a level of cynicism that is downright lethal. Steve Blanco also busts out a bass part on this one that puts even Primus's Les Claypool to shame. Alphaville once more sees a plethora of additional instrumentation with hand drums, woodblock, and piano on City Swine, organ closing out Rotted Futures, and yes, returning fan favorite brass instruments on Transmission to Mercury, in a discordant orgy of blaring noise that had me reflecting on the ending of Radiohead's The National Anthem, albeit far more abrasive in nature, even featuring harrowing screams from some unidentified female victim. There's even a distorted barbershop quartet recording that sets the stage for the lengthy and highly dynamic Atomic Age. It's like the soundtrack to a nightmarish mashup of Fallout's Desert Wasteland with the Hell Dimension of Event Horizon. The off-kilter string arrangements that build towards the final movement illustrate some of the band's most ambitious ideas to date. In terms of the overall atmosphere of this album, whereas Vile Luxury felt like a grounded reflection of Imperial Triumphant's New York surroundings, Alphaville comes off as more dreamlike and Lynchian in approach. Hell, the very first thing we hear is a Tibetan singing bowl, which are connected to meditation and altered states. The entire album leaves me in an uncanny state of psychedelic unreality.
We're like the dreamer who dreams, then lives inside a dream.
And this only becomes more true the deeper down the rabbit hole we fall. The final tracks, Experiment, Voivod, and Happy Home, The Residents, are particularly bizarre, the former living up to its name with a strangely upbeat take on brutal death metal, and the former a chillingly mishmashed collision of upbeat melodies, noisy frenetic drumming, applause, ominous hypnotic synths, and voices that seem to go from joyful squealing to harrowing screams of terror. I'm again left reflecting back on my first viewing of Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire. In the end, Alphaville is another tour de force from one of the most talented and forward-thinking bands in metal today, though one certainly not for the faint of heart. I give Imperial Triumphant a 9 for enjoyability, although once more that term may not be the best descriptor of this particular listening experience. I give them a 10 for musicianship and a 9 for innovation. 9.3, it's an A for Alphaville. Get it July 31st via Century Media Records. And if you enjoy this kind of music, might I also recommend underground acts Malthusian, Abyssal, and Alterage for further listening. Y'all, thanks as always for watching, and be sure to like and comment to let YouTube know to recommend the video to others. What's your favorite song from Imperial Triumphant, and do you feel that Alphaville lives up to the hype set by Vile Luxury? Also, stick around for plenty more videos like this one, as well as roundups, tier lists, and band interviews, including one I did a while back in person with Imperial Triumphant during their tour with Behold the Arctopus. And once again, subscribe if you'd like more content like this on a weekly basis. In the description, you'll also find links to all of our social media, the email newsletter, and our Patreon and Subscribestar if you'd like to make that extra leap to becoming a supporter. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.